Now let's start with importance and scope of statistics. In this particular answer, you will find that there are parts like statistics and economics. This is the first part. Statistics and commerce is the second part. Like that, they have made parts. Now, let's start with statistics and economics. This particular answer will do little faster because I feel it's a theory question and mostly 1 or 2 mark object type question can be asked. So we are not going to give more time on this. Statistics and economics is that the first thing that they are saying that it's a consumption. So through statistical data, we come to know the spending by different people, how they spend their income. Production. Through statistical data, we can describe the total productivity of a country and we can compare ourselves with other countries of the world, whether we are producing more than them, less than them, our productivity is more or less, or whatever it may be, like that we can have a comparison. Then the next point is about exchange. In exchange, there are demand forces, supply forces, cost of production, monopoly, competition, and all these things we need to know in the field of exchange. Means if you are studying the economics, then you should know all these things. And for knowing all these things, a systematic study is required, and that can be done with the help of statistics. Then it's next point is about econometrics. Now, what is econometrics? Econometrics is a combination of economics, mathematics, and statistics. So, students, many universities they have this econometrics as a separate subject. Okay, so in that you have to use economics concept. You have to apply the mathematics and statistical theories to those concepts, and you can have some conclusion based on that. Okay, then public finance. I hope you all know what is public finance. Okay, public finance means what? Public finance means the policies or related to revenue, public revenue and public expenditure, like fiscal policy can also come under that. So how government is going to finance itself? Government is going to use that finance that comes under public finance. So taxes, revenue can be in form of taxes, and expenditure can be in form of expenditure by the government on infrastructure, hospital, and all. Okay, education and all. So in this way, for public finance, you need proper statistical document. You need data actually to decide about fiscal policy, deficit financing. So all these decisions are based on some statistics and statistical data, I mean to say. The next is input output analysis, means the relationship between input and output. Okay, input output analysis is nothing but the relationship between input and output, means what are our inputs and what are our outputs, or how output is dependent on input. So this analysis is also based on the statistical data. Here, what are the different economic analysis for doing this economic analysis? Correlation, regression. These are the statistical techniques used. Okay. So in statistics and economics, there is consumption, which tells about the spending by the people. Production, we can compare ourselves with other countries. Exchange, to know about exchange side of country, we should know all this. We should have all this data about demand, supply, cost of production, monopoly, competition, and all that. And this can be we can get through statistics. Econometrics is a combination of three, and with the help of econometrics, economics has become exact science. So because of see, economics is a social science first of all. So we cannot say it's exact science, because social sciences are not exact sciences. But because of the use of mathematics and statistics in economics, it has become exact science. And public finance, when we are deciding about public finance, when we are making policy, government is making policy about fiscal policy or other types of policies, deficit financing and all. At that time, government should have some data which based on that they frame these policies. So this data is nothing but the statistical data. So we need that's why statistics is important. Input output analysis is the relationship between input and output, how output is dependent on input at what level and all. So for that, correlation regression analysis are done. and that's why and that is nothing but that are nothing but the statistical techniques. So this is done, this point. Then next point is statistics and commerce. In that organization of business, if you want to organize your business properly, then you need some statistical data to arrive at a conclusion, and that's why statistics is important in commerce. For production also, statistics is important because you're going to forecast about the production of commodity with the help of statistical tools. Then for scientific management and business forecasting, this point is repetition. Like for production also, you're going to forecast. For other things also of your business, for marketing, sales, also for that also students you're going to forecast. So forecasting is a technique under statistics. That's why statistics is important in business, in the way, in the sense you can do forecasting of production, sales, and all. Okay. The next is purchase. For taking correct decision about raw material and all, you need some proper data, maybe of previous year, maybe you may have to do forecasting for purchasing and all. So this statistical data is based for taking decision related to purchase. That's why statistics is important in business also. So for organizing your business properly, to have proper conclusion, for forecasting about production, for forecasting about business forecasting, then for taking proper purchase decision, statistics is important. And statistics and accounting and auditing, here also some concepts are used from statistics, like probability or some standard deviation and all that are also used in accounting and auditing. Statistics and economic planning. Now economic planning here means what to produce, how to produce, how much to produce, and whom to allocate the resources. This is nothing but your economic planning. I am repeating: what to produce, how to produce, how much to produce, and whom to allocate the resources. So this is the your economic planning, and for doing this economic planning you need data, like what can be produced, how much to produce. This can be of whole country, obviously, and that time you need the information about population, information about demographics, information about the resources available. So for that, statistical, this information is nothing but proper statistical data. So that's why statistics is important in economic planning as well. Then statistics and astronomy. In astronomy also somewhere use least square methods and all for doing their study. Statistics and meteorology. Meteorology means what? Meteorology means a science where weather forecasting is done. So that's why there also we need some figures, and we need some data. That data is collected through statistical methods. Then statistics and biology. These are some of the natural sciences like biology. There also statistics is used. See, point number 7, that is statistics and biology, and statistics and natural science. These are same, I think. You can combine and write for doing some study related to medicines and all. So now we'll take example of COVID-19. So they are having a study on the vaccine. Okay, so what kind of study they must be doing? Means they want to know the effect of the vaccine, whether it's positive effect is there, negative effect is there. Okay, so they give that vaccine to certain group of people, to some people, and after that what they do, they note down, they measure the effects on their body of those vaccines. Okay, and after that they come to conclusion, right? They come to conclusion on the basis of the information or data that they are noting down, and after that they conclude whether this vaccine is having more positive effect or more negative effect, or no negative effect, or only positive effect, whatever it may be. On the basis of that, for that they use some test also, t test and all these kind of things. Means the medicine is having positive effect only on male or only on female, or what kind of effect they have, whether gender is having any relationship with the effect of that vaccine, or whether age group is having any effect, any relationship on the effect with the effect of those vaccine. Like that they do study. So all these things are what students, these all these things come under statistics. Okay, so for natural sciences also statistics is very important. For biology also, for mathematics also it's important. In mathematics, actually probability, this particular concept, this particular see, I'll read this for you. Mathematics and statistics have been closely in touch with each other even ever since 17th century, when theory of probability was found to be have influence on various statistical methods. So actually probability theory is there in maths, but it is applied in statistics also. So nowadays we cannot separate these two things, math and stats. These two things should go together. Okay. See, here one sentence they have written: science without statistics bear no fruit, and statistics without science have no root. So, as I said, they go together. We cannot separate them each other. Statistics and research, yes. Right now, I have given an example of COVID-19 experiment research, and also there I have already included that example of research. Many students they must be knowing something about research, especially those who have done some research papers and all. And if not, then so we conduct surveys, then we present those data, then we have a interpretation of the same, and then we conclude. All these things are what student. All these things are all these things come under statistics. Okay. Then statistics and education. If you want to have some new course, new infrastructure required for that course, all those things for all those things you need to conduct a survey. You need to ask the interested people in that. It can be the educational minister, it can be the students, parents, teachers. Okay, so this group can be students, parents, teachers. So you're going to conduct their survey, you're going to ask them what are their expectations and these kind of things. And after at the end, you're going to present that data, you're going to interpret that data, and then you are going to make a conclusion whether this new course can be started or not, what kind of infrastructure facilities will be required. I'm just giving you one example. Statistics and business, this is already covered for forecasting. Mainly in business, we need proper forecasting, and for that, forecasting is nothing is one of the most important technique of statistics. Okay, so in this way, there are 12 points under importance of statistics. See, I'll show you this again. Under importance and scope of statistics. Statistics and economics was the first point. Then second is statistics and commerce. Then statistics and astronomy, statistics and research, statistics and auditing and accounting, statistics and metrology, statistics and biology, natural sciences, statistics and mathematics, statistics and research. So statistics is everywhere. We need statistics. We need statistics in education. We need statistics in business. So that's why statistics is important. Now we'll see. Right till now we have seen how statistics is good. Now we are going to see how statistics is bad. Like in short, in 1 minute we'll see limitations of statistics. Just a minute. Limitations of statistics. Statistics does not deal with individual item. No, we are here. It's the data of combination. You are not going to look at one consumer. You are not going to look at one student. You are not going to look at one person. It's the data of combination, data of group. Statistics deals with quantitative data, means the qualitative data, right? Some of the qualities like honesty, then integrity, goodwill, all these things are qualitative. So we cannot measure those. So direct statistical measurements are not available. It measures and it presents only quantitative data. For that solution is there. We can give some ranks, some numbers to this qualitative data as well. But right now you all remember that statistics deals with only quantitative data. Now what is quantitative data? Temperature, which can be expressed in terms of which we can measure, we can express in numerical way. That is quantitative data, percentage of students, height of students, weight of students, then demand in quantity, demand quantity, supply quantity, and all. Okay. Then statistical laws are true only on averages. So we have to make average, and if we look at the average, and if we look at the individual item, then there can be a huge difference also, because see, marks of average marks of a class, suppose it's coming 60%, and then you go and see individual marks, they may be different, not 60%. Okay. So this is statistical laws are truly on averages. Statistic does not reveal the entire story. It will tell you the summary. It won't tell you the entire story. Statistics is liable to be misused. So there are chances that statistical data can be misused by someone for personal purpose and all. Okay, there can be deficiencies in that data. So there are good use also and bad use also of the statistical data. Then the next thing that we are going to see after limitations of statistics is, okay, this point, statistical data should be uniform and homogeneous. This point you can skip, no need to do this point. Statistical, these are the statistical tools in economic analysis. You have to collect data, you have to tabulate data, then measures of central tendency, in that mean median mode is there, measures of dispersion in that range, standard deviation, all these things are there. Then time series, probability, index number, sampling and its usage, business forecasting, test of significance, then statistical quality control. These are some of the techniques which are used for doing economic analysis. Okay, from that we'll start with collection of data. We'll go little fast here. Data, because this is something very common, you also must be knowing. I'll just do a revision of that. For economic analysis, you need to collect data, and there are two ways of collecting data: primary data and secondary data. Now, what is primary data? It means you are going and you are collecting the data from someone, and secondary data means someone else has already collected and you are using it. Okay, so primary data are those data which are collected by you to meet your own specific purpose, whereas secondary data are those data which are collected by somebody else. Okay, now how you can collect the primary data? You can directly do the personal observation. So take this example, like how many hours a student study. For that, what you can do, you can just sit near the library, and or how many students visit the library, what is the average number of students visiting library, some kind of study you want to conduct. So what you can do, you can sit near the library and you can observe how many students come daily to the library. You can go to the library, look at the library and note down your observation, like mostly of which class, or you can have a look at the library register. From that you can make your own observation and note it down, like how many students come, of generally mostly of which class, mostly of which age, like that. Observation, personal observation. So you are not going and asking anyone anything here, just you're observing the things. The same example, same thing you can have for market also. Sometimes you know what they do control study. They give some product to people and then they observe what are the, see, if you go and ask them after giving a medicine, if you go and ask them whether you're feeling ill, whether you're feeling sick, how you're feeling, so that time not necessary that particular respondent will give you right answer. It can be influenced by some psychological things also come over here. So best way is observe them. So you can take their temperature, you can note down their BP, like that, things where exact answer you will get. Okay, so this is direct personal observation. And then indirect oral investigation, in that what you do, you contact third person and then you ask that third person about the respondent. Here, the best example is how many hours students study. If you ask this question to students, they are not going to give you the right answer, I'm telling you. So best way is you can contact their parents, you can contact their teachers, and then you can ask them how many hours, especially the parents. If you have to do a study like this, how many hours students study at home, you have to ask this question to the parents, not the students mostly. Then only you can get the right answer. So indirect oral investigation. Then estimates from the local sources and correspondents. So you have to here appoint some agents who will collect data for you. Then direct data through questionnaire. You have to prepare a questionnaire. Now on that questionnaire also there can be a separate video. Let's see further what points are included in the syllabus. That time we'll decide how much detail in detail we are going. Okay. So for the questionnaire, you have to design a questionnaire. In questionnaire, there can be close-ended question like yes, no, or four options you can view and tell them to select one of them, or open-ended question like they have to write the explanation or some short answer. Okay, so a questionnaire, and then you can send those questionnaire. Nowadays we can prepare Google Forms and send that Google Forms to the through WhatsApp and email and all, and we can request the respondent to fill that information, fill up that form, or you can go personally and view them, or sometimes you can go and ask them. So here many other things are also there, like personal interview and all that also will come here. Investigation through enumerators means you have to appoint the people who will do the counting for you. Here especially enumerators are the people appointed for population census by the government. Okay, the methods of collecting secondary data: newspaper, periodical, publication of trade association. Now trade association means association of teachers, then association of doctors, association of traders, association of retailers, music industry of India. These are the examples of trade association. So if they are public, if they are having some publications, those publications you can use for your, if required, you can use for your study. Then some research papers published by some UGC or some research bureaus or some good universities and all, then those research papers can also be useful for doing your, for collecting the secondary data. Official publication of state, central and local government, that is available mostly on their websites. This includes information or statistics about crops production in country, industry, trade, transport statistics and all. Okay, information obtained from the official publication of some international organization like World Bank, WTO is there, International Monetary Fund is there, International Labour Organization is there. So these foreign governments and these publications are also these organizations are also they are also having some publications which are available on their website, so you can collect that information as a secondary data. Now why that is secondary data? Because it is already collected, properly tabulated and made available. Okay, the next part is classification of data. Now classification of data, in that students, the classification of data means what first of all? Okay, I'll just take it on the top, so that again you will understand where we are and what we are doing. In statistical tools in economic analysis, we are doing collection of data, and right now we have seen how we can collect the data, and after that we have to start with classification of data.